Yesterday, you guys were put on a midseason honor roll list for best offensive line in the country, and Rasheed Walker quote tweeted that and said the culture has changed in the offensive line room. This is year 3 for you in that room. Have you sensed that shift, and if so, where are you seeing those traits?
I think the biggest shift is just coming our approach. We kind of just take it one day at a time right now. We're really focused on what's right in front of us at every time. We bring a lot of focus to the meeting rooms, out to the practice field, and overall, like we just I feel like we have more fun out here, and it allows us to kind of stay in the moment, keep our head where our feet are.
Is that a personnel thing, or is that more of how Lime Grover has approached it over the course of the year?
I think part of it just goes with the chemistry in the O-line room. A lot of us, we got a lot of older guys in the room who have been leading us in that right direction and kind of know how to keep everyone's head straight and where it needs to be.
How do you think you guys have done maybe communicating on the road where it's loud, and how hard is that?
It's definitely pretty difficult, but a lot of those issues get solved during the week. That's something we work on really hard whenever we go on the road. We play loud music out here to work on that communication and getting things where they need to be before the snap.
And if, I don't know, someone makes a mistake, there's a sack, what goes into kind of picking up whether it was you or the rest of the linemen and kind of moving on?
Just focusing on the next play, knowing that it's behind us, we can't do anything about it, but focusing on executing and winning that next play.
The last two meetings against Michigan State have come down to the wire, and they both, haven't gone Penn State's way. What do you guys learn from past matchups like that, and, why do you think maybe this matchup, might go a little bit differently?
I think the biggest thing that we've learned is just preparation throughout the week. Once again, we do 2-minute drills on Monday, and that's one of the things that we always do every single week to be prepared for those kind of situations, and we just need to make sure that we're doing what we can during the week, so when we get in those situations in the game, they're not as challenging for us.
What have you seen from Michigan State's defensive line, on film this week?
We know that they're really physical. They pride themselves in playing with good technique, being physical, trying to bully you. For us, it's all about just all of us doing our job, communicating well, playing as a group, and just executing better. That's all it's going to come down to.
James mentioned in one of the last questions that he thought there had been a sense of confidence because you've been able to run the ball against teams that were traditionally good at stopping the run. How does that feel as an offensive lineman, knowing you've been able to accomplish that? And does that do anything for you going into matchups with another team like that?
I think just in general, we have confidence that we can really run the ball on anyone. I feel like we have a lot of talented backs that we could put in at any point in the game and get us yards when we need them. And then a lot of it is just us, like I've said, just executing and doing our job.
Besides points, is there a stat that the offensive line takes a lot of pride in?
Definitely rushing yards. When we pile on rushing yards on team, it's definitely a good feeling going back into the locker room that night.
James was talking a few weeks ago about some of the different schemes that they've put in, like last offseason, because they thought they needed to be a little bit more like multi-dimensional in the run game. How have those different looks maybe helped you help the offensive line, like keep defenses off guard or anything like that?
For us, it's just been consistency in how we're learning and how we're preparing and how we're kind of learning those plays. So it's just been the consistency of work for us since the beginning of the season, learning those kind of schemes that we're putting in.
Do you feel like you can maybe keep a defense more off balance with those different looks, or no?
I mean, that's the point.
We've consistently seen 7 offensive linemen coming in and being involved game in, game out. I mean, have you been just incredibly pleased with how that rotation has kind of worked out, and has everybody, bought into it from day one?
At this point in the season, it's kind of working like clockwork for us. It's something we've really gotten used to, and I feel like it works well for all of us because if I'm ever struggling, I know CJ can come in and back me up, and CJ is always going to have my back in there. And same thing at tackle. If any of them are struggling, they know that they have someone that can go in and have their back at all times. So it's been a nice thing for us to have. It's also been a good thing for our chemistry at this point in the season with how long we've been doing it. I feel like we've built chemistry with 7 guys in the offensive line rather than just 5.
How serious of a group are you guys? Because I know CJ likes to have fun, but it seems like overall you seem very businesslike, Steven Gonzalez talked in the offseason how serious it was for him to come back and prove to NFL scouts this year. Is that, am I reading that wrong? Is that the personality of the group?
I mean, when it's time to be serious, we do a good job at being serious when we need to. But you know, we're definitely still a group that likes to have fun. You may not see it on camera, like some of the other groups, I guess. But yeah, we're still a group that definitely goofs around a lot. But when we know we have to be serious and we know we have to lock in, we can do that pretty well.
In the past, Coach Franklin has said that the Land Grant Trophy is the most beautiful trophy in college football. What's the attitude in the locker room towards that large hunk of wood?
I don't even know what that is, to be
You
honest.
don't know what the Land Grant Trophy is? It's like the
I'm drawing a
Michigan,
blank at least. The Michigan
the-
State versus Penn State
yeah,
trophy.
the rivalry trophy.
I mean, we want to win the game. That's about it.
Menet has gotten a lot of attention for being a kind of a tone setter, I guess, in this group. I mean, how does he go about doing that? Is that just from him being around campus for a while now, or is it something maybe he's taken ownership of in the room?
Part of it is definitely experience. Everyone in the room definitely has a lot of respect for him. But then the other thing is just the way that he carries himself every day. The way that he works every day in practice, the way that he carries himself in meetings. He really leads by example, and it's just he's just a lot more. He's just mature and kind of leads everyone in the right direction.